Sharp French, what up? This one luck, I let the pain inspire me. I put my all in everything I'm doing. Up until it's done, I'm me for the entirety. I put in overtime, I be working. Just know I'ma go for mine, cause I earned it. They watching, I know it's time, I confirmed it. A whole society determined.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I am your host, Sean French, and today I have with me an amazing individual, my friend Jessica Weaver. We call her Jessie Cakes. She is an individual that has overcome so much in her life: cervical cancer, domestic abuse, and also, would you know, in the day and age of social media, this woman is documented the most copycatted person profile page in the world. And, you know, coming from such humble beginnings, I know how frustrating that could be, because a very long time ago, I would say there was a fake page of me brought up every single day with my children on it. And it was just, it was disgusting. So, you know, I have with me an overall badass with us today. She's determined. She's resilient. My friend, Jessica Weaver, welcome to the show.
Thank you for that amazing intro.
Hey, you know what? It's one of those things where you've lived your life and you embody resilience and determination. There's so many different ways we can go in this interview, right? And I just want it to be, as I always say, and the guests listening now, they know everything is supernatural and unscripted. So why don't we do this to kind of kick things off? Tell the audience that may not know who you are just a little bit about Jessie.
Oh, well, where do we start? Well, currently I'm a mama, and that's kind of, I've gone through a lot of obstacles in life. I'm currently changing my life for the positive, because I've learned and grown, and I want to be a really good example for my son. So that's kind of where I'm going right now.
That's awesome. How old's your son?
Almost 2.
Oh, wow. You got a little one. That's so much fun. So I have a 10-year-old son, a 7-year-old daughter, and a 5-year-old daughter. And I know. And it's like, it's crazy, because when I had my son 10 years ago, I could never even imagine loving another human being as much as I loved him. And then comes my daughter, and then comes another daughter. And I'm just genuinely obsessed with these individuals. Like, they are so dang cool. What's your favorite thing about your son?
He's got a really funny spirit. Like, he's just goofy like me. So we're always just laughing and cracking jokes, and he gets it even at a young age. So that's fun.
You know, it's funny because, like, when you're describing this, I'm hearing, you know, what you're saying about your son, how he gets it. He's going to have high emotional intelligence. Right. And it's crazy. My son's emotional intelligence level is just off the charts. It's off the chart. My middle child, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but my she's intellectually genius. And then my 5-year-old has like both. She's like, I think she's IQ wise very high and very emotionally intelligent. So that's awesome. You know, I'm happy for you. You know, hearing these, I'm changing my life for the better. I think as human beings here, we're always looking, or hopefully always looking, to better ourselves for the people around us. What are some of the things that you focus on daily to make sure that you're living your best life and being the best you for your son?
I think what am I doing that I'm proud of, and what am I doing that I'm shameful of? What when he grows up, what can he say about me that he'd be proud of? So I kind of look at that now, is what am I putting out there? Is it good or bad? So that's really what I've been digging deep in now. And that's why I would rather help others instead of just posting sexy pictures all the time, like kind of how I grew my Instagram. But I never was proud about it. So now I'm totally doing different, and it's really peaceful feeling.
Yeah, you are. I mean, listen, you know, I can attest to that for the people listening. You know, Jessie and I started following each other. I don't know. I think she found me off of one of our mutual friends and I followed back, and, you know, she's out there literally trying to riddle the world with positivity. And,
Mhm.
I as far as you say that, the pictures, I mean, it wasn't ever
Yeah.
my play. That would not go off well for me, but, I
Yeah.
can appreciate that. See, to me, that's awareness, right? And it's like, what
Mhm.
have you noticed as far as energies coming towards you since you made that shift, right? I would have to imagine, like, you made that shift. I'm in your circle now. I probably wouldn't have been, to be honest. Like,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
it's no knock. I'm just saying, like, you know, family man, right? So like I have to be able to,
Mhm.
if I'm going to follow this individual, like why am I following this individual, right? So
Mhm.
talk to the audience a little bit how that maybe the perception of you or the people that are coming into your orbit now have changed.
Oh, it's changed tremendously. At first, when I started making the announcement to my fans, like, "Hey, sorry, y'all, I'm changing my page,"
Mm-hmm.
I lost probably 100,000 followers within a week
Yeah.
because they were not having it. They did not want it. I started getting hate comments every day. I started getting emails like, really scary ones.
Mm.
So they were not having it. But ever since then, it's only been a few months and really cleaning up what I post and share. It's brought in a lot more quality people.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I may have lost a good chunk of people, but I will slowly get it back and replace it with better quality. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what matters.
That's awesome because I know the people that are kind of in your circle now, right? Eric Rock, good buddy of mine. Absolutely freaking love that
Mm-hmm.
guy. Gia McCool.
Yes.
Gia McCool's a good friend of
Yes.
mine.
Yeah.
I met Gia when I was first starting and she took a chance on me, to come on my show. And we built an amazing friendship and, we help each other anytime we can. And, I can really honestly tell you, you have some quality people engaging in
Yeah.
your stuff now.
Yeah, and they were, all these people, Eric and Gia, they both saw the potential in me, and that was really life changing
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes it just takes others to be like, "Hey, you're better than what you're doing,"
Mm-hmm.
and you need that support sometimes. And I think a lot of girls on social media, they just get stuck in this downhill spiral trying to get the likes and
Mm-hmm.
growing their page and posting stuff they're not proud of, but they're not ever told like, "Hey, you deserve better." So, changing who I'm around is what changed my life.
Dude, let me ask you a question, Jess. Who's the first person that told you that?
um I would say Eric was probably one of the first recently. I mean, back in November, he at I think our first conversation, he was like, "Hey, I think you could do more with your life."
Mm-hmm.
He kind of said it in a nice way. And I was already kind of feeling like that for a long time.
Yeah.
But it just takes one person to be like, and that really truly helped.
It's crazy. The reason I asked that question because that's a scary like comment to make, right?
Yeah.
Like I can imagine like how Eric says slaying dragons. Like I can
Yeah.
imagine what dragon he had to slay to be that vulnerable with you to say those things, right? And come from a place
Yeah.
of love and respect.
Mhm.
I think the world of that guy. Like truly, I
Right.
love that dude. Love that dude. When his team reached out to, you know, make a video for happy birthday, I was blown away. I was even
Yeah.
involved in that. That was such a cool experience, man.
Aw.
I
Yeah, that's
yeah,
cool.
he's a leader. He's a leader. So
He
so no,
great
so that's
example.
great. I mean, listen, what being able to shift, right, and do more, like and have different people come into your world, like you said, at the end of the day, you may have lost 100,000, 200,000 followers, whatever, who cares? They weren't there for the right reasons. You want people that are
Exactly.
there for the person, right? And that's something
Yeah.
that, man, I tell you what, this is kind of a joke, but it's serious. Dude, it's hard for dudes on Instagram. Like, I could post some really cool stuff, man. It's like crickets. But then you just see some of
Yeah.
the shit that is posted. Either it's
Yeah.
making fun of some political figure, or it's a just like lack of wholesome picture that a female would post, and it blows up. It's
Exactly.
everywhere. And so you start to really see what we value as society. And that sometimes that's hard for me to stomach and to take. Right.
Yeah.
So I like to surround myself with people like you that know there's more to everything in life.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big
Yeah.
mission. You know,
Yeah.
how was your interaction with your son? I know he's young. Okay.
Mhm.
But when you start living in alignment with who you truly are, your interactions with other humans become so much more fruitful. How has this shift in you contributed to positive interactions with your lovely son that's almost 2?
Yeah. I think it's just like my energy. I'm always a happy person,
Mm-hmm.
but now I'm truly happy.
Yeah.
It's like you took a weight off your shoulders and you don't have that awful feeling in your stomach, like that shame.
Mm,
So I definitely do feel like really peaceful energy, and I'm sure he feels that too.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
kids always feel what their parents are feeling, whether you hide it or not. Kids are smart, no matter what the
They're
age.
smarter than us. They're smarter than us.
Yes.
They have like all these gifts that human beings are given that we lose as we get older because of external
Hmm.
bullshit, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
limiting beliefs or whatever, like those things start to decay within us. The children still have
Hmm.
that, right? And it's really neat
Yes.
because my wife's always told me this: when my 5-year-old was younger, and if I was in a bad mood, like my
Hmm.
daughter would just be a nightmare. And I'm sitting there like,
Oh.
what is wrong with her? Like, this is bullshit. Like, I can't deal with this
Oh.
today. And she goes,
Yeah.
she's reacting to your energy. I'm like, woo woo, whatever. But like,
Yeah.
you know, and she says this to me out of love. She goes, no, you can say that or you can change. She goes, because I'll tell you
Hmm.
this. She goes, I was the same way with my dad. Whatever my
Hmm.
dad was feeling energetically or emotionally, I took that on. And now your daughter
Yeah.
is just like me. She's an empath and she's very connected to you. So you need to be careful how you show up when you walk through these doors. I'm like,
Oh, that's deep. Yes,
dude.
it's true. Yeah, so true.
And
Hmm.
like and it's true. It's totally true. I always want to be the best I can for my family and for my kids. I fall short a lot. I surely
Yeah.
do. I totally do. But I'm at least able to kind of like go back and be like, I wish I would have handled that differently because of this.
Hmm.
Um, so you've been through a lot. Okay. You've been through a
Yes.
lot. I mentioned that I want to segue away from, the social media part of it and the pictures and whatnot. And I want to go
Yeah.
down to the deep things. See, living life is hard. And I think a lot of people go through things every single day, whether it's they had a bad day at work or, they got in an argument with a friend or a spouse, but you've dealt with some shit, right?
Hmm.
You've had a domestic, a partner that was abusive. You've battled and beat cancer. Like you're pulling things off that maybe not a lot of other people can pull off. Right.
Yeah.
So, talk to us about your journey. Because I think at one point in time, everybody's either touched with some type of domestic problem or
Hmm.
cancer, whether it's themselves directly or a family member or a friend. How did you take that news? Right. And then how did you decide to fight?
Hmm. Well, with the cancer journey, I had no idea was something wrong with me. I know I was feeling off for like 6 months, and I kept going to the doctor, and I wasn't getting any periods or anything. Not to get into
You're
detail with
fine.
that, but
We're
but
open here.
I
We're open on the show. You don't have to worry
right.
about it. No censorship here.
So I kept going to the doctor, and I kept telling them I'm pregnant. Like I really thought I was
Yeah.
pregnant. And me and my partner at the time were like, we're pregnant. Like
Yeah.
we really thought we were, because that's how I was feeling. I had all these symptoms. So when I finally got the news after tons of doctor visits and trying to figure out what was wrong with me, I was not expecting that. I was
Yeah.
expecting something along the lines of pregnancy.
Something
Um,
happy.
and so Yeah.
Yeah.
So going from you think you're pregnant to you have cancer, it was just talk about the worst
Yeah.
news ever.
Yeah.
Um, so after a whole day of crying and just completely shocked, it's weird. The next day, I woke up and I did have a large following at the time. I think I had like 2 million followers or something then. And I've always been a person of how can I turn good out of bad, out of
Mhm.
everything in life. That's how I get through. How can I turn this into a good situation? And, to turn into cancer into a good situation, it was, I don't know what came over me, but the next morning I was like, I'm going to share the news to the world and I'm going to share the journey, and hopefully other women will be more aware of keeping up to date with their pap smears and just learning about health in general. And I just made the announcement. Um, and I was very open throughout my whole journey on what I was doing and the goods, the bads, all the hard moments.
Mm.
And I truly helped a lot of people. And to this day, a lot of people I've helped with cancer came to me, and I've supported a lot of people along their cancer journey.
Mm. What were some of the things that you did daily to keep your mind right? I mean, it's a mental battle as well as it is physical, right? So walk us through that
Mm-hmm.
fight. Yes, you decided to announce it to your community that are faithful, followers of your page. But like once you decided, how did you fight every day? Because there's people shutting down because they're not making the money that they want. And here you are with, cervical cancer, that's a big deal, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was tough, but I had to face death in the face
Mm,
immediately, because if you start fearing death, you're going to start making bad decisions based on fear. That's why I had to face it. I'm not afraid to die, but I do want to live. So you got to have that will to live 120%.
mm,
And I told myself that every single day. Like, if this is going to take me out, I'm going to do it in my own way, but I will fight for it, because I want to live. So I would pray every day. I would, talk good to myself, encouraging. And also, I studied a lot about health, and I know stress is the worst thing for your immune system.
yeah.
So I just did not allow myself to get stressed. I took every day, day by day.
Unbelievable. What are the feelings like? Because I think everybody at some point fears death, right? I don't,
Yeah.
it's a scary thing, right? Um, what kind of feelings were you feeling when you're like, okay, this might be an outcome?
Yeah. When you do face death, that's when you start really, saying your sorries. If there's any, bad
Yeah.
relationships you need to repair, that you start doing it. And you really get close to the ones you truly love the most. And you say your love yous every single day. You appreciate every single day. I started appreciating every single day I just woke up.
Mm.
I started appreciating just my dogs at the time, just loving on them so much. Um, so it does give you a amazing feeling of appreciation that you never had before. So that's in a way a good way. And I still try to live like that to this day.
Have you found it difficult to live like that still?
I have my moments,
Yeah.
life is still can be crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're good. You're never going to be 100%. Everyone has their weak moments. We're human. We're going
Yeah.
to have moments of weakness. But as long as you can get through it, feel that emotion, and then get back to how being positive and getting through the days, and you'll be fine.
Dude, so I'm like sitting here listening to this and having this conversation with you, and I'm asking you, how did you decide? And for those of you listening, I want you to stop. Like literally, if you're driving, pull over. If you're at home, turn the damn TV off and listen to this part right here. her response, Jessica's response was, I loved more. I was grateful. I appreciated every waking moment. Every time God woke me up, I was ecstatic and I led with love. Why aren't we doing that every day, y'all? We all have people in our lives, like my wife, my children, and a lot of times those people that are closest to us, I'm getting passionate now, can be that Achilles heel sometimes, that inconvenience. Like, let's face it. Let's face it. We're human beings. We can be selfish at times. And when we have people that love us and want to be a part of our lives every second, but we want to do what we want to do, we can look at these people that are so prized in our lives as an inconvenience. And I think of one thing, Jess, when I think of dying, it scares the fucking shit out of me. You know why?
Mm-hmm.
Not because I'm losing my life. There's a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 5-year-old up there that if something happened to me today, would they fucking remember me? Probably not.
They will. They will.
I mean, maybe, right? But then I also think of like, how are they going to be? They didn't have their dad, and I don't want that ever to happen to them. So, y'all that are hearing me getting emotional, is I want everybody right now listening to reflect on how Jessie led her life in those moments. That ultimately, that's why she healed, because she was removing stress and leading with love. Can we just love without any condition? And also, by the way, say we're sorry, right? Say we apologize for some of the ripples in the ocean that we created in the past. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're listening to my show, you have some edge about you, because it's not a vanilla show. You've done some shit. You've done some dirt, just like I have. Like, we have to apologize for those moments, because that's when the chains break. That's when we can be free. I admire you. I truly do, because here's the thing. It is so easy to wake up in the morning and go, I'm so grateful, God, you woke me up. Yeah. Well, in 15 minutes, there's a pissed off 5-year-old.
Traffic.
Yeah, it's traffic. You're bloated. You don't feel right in your clothes. You're not having a good hair day. If you're like me, you're losing your hair. It's like, there's all these things, right? Like, we all chase perfection. If we're not perfect, and in every single moment, it ruins our day. So I just admire you, because that is something that I am actively trying to accomplish.
That's why you just got to accept the not so perfect. Life is never going to be perfect. You're going to have horrible times. You're going to go through crazy stuff. But it's like, if you don't know how long you have. Like, you could just go to the grocery store and not make it back from a car accident. So I always, with cancer, I always told myself, in a way, this is a blessing, because I have time to get things right, to fix bad relationships, to say my goodbyes, to line things up so everything's figured out. But a lot of times people don't have that opportunity. They don't know how long you have. You don't know how long your family has. And that's scary. So you got to think, like, if I was to die right now, what do I regret? What do I wish I would have done different?
Yeah.
What things should I have healed? So no one else is left with regret.
Dude, this conversation is 1,000 times better than I thought it was going to be.
It's deep, but so important.
It's life, right? Like, some shows are lighthearted. Some shows are like this. And when you connect like this and get deep on show, a real relationship, a friendship is born. Right. Like, that's why I love podcasting. Right. It's like, I know I'm gonna be friends with you now. Like, this is a good conversation. And it's funny because, like, I was putting my 5-year-old in the car today. My wife was coming out. They go to school together, because my wife's a Spanish teacher at this prep school. And they ride to school together every day. It's so cute. It's just the cutest thing ever. Okay. And my oldest are going to be there next year. And I always, like, I love you. And I'm thinking, oh my God, they're driving. Like,
exactly.
They're driving. Like, like that gets in your mind. Like anything can happen.
It does.
Last week I had a buddy of mine, Shane McDonald, reached out to me, and we went through training together at Paychecks. Like we sold payroll together way back in the day. He goes, "Hey, you remember so-and-so?" I don't want to say his name on the air. I just don't know why. And I'm like, of course I remember. We're friends. He's like, I just want to let you know that he was headed to a gig. He was a sound engineer. He was doing what he loved. And you know him, and he was a family man and 3 kids, and he hit a tree and his car was engulfed in flames and he passed away. This was last week. I got this message in my Instagram, and it just made me realize how fragile life is. Like those beautiful children are going to grow up knowing what happened to their dad, and they got to face that. God, like, man, it just made me think of like sometimes kids are forced to grow up way too soon, and they are, most importantly, lose their damn innocence.
Yeah, it's horrible. That's why, you got to be in the moment with your children, and you got to teach them how to deal with big emotions. Like if something really big did happen, teach your kids now on how to regulate their emotions, how to get through that now.
Yeah.
So at least you left them in a stronger state of mind.
Yeah. You mentioned being Southwest Florida is one of the most beautiful places on the planet to live. For those of you that are thinking of moving from other states to come to Florida, or even just moving to a different part of the state, I want you to think of a big, beautiful luxury home. Contact Legacy Luxury Builders. They are a family-owned and operated luxury residential construction company. As a family-owned business, they believe in the power of building not just homes, but legacies. Contact Legacy Luxury Builders. The nightmare of feeling like you'll never measure up, of constant second guessing and self-doubt. It eats away at you and destroys your confidence. I've been there too, feeling like I didn't belong on the field with my teammates, but it doesn't have to stay that way. I used to compare myself to everyone around me. I thought that no matter how hard I worked, I'd never be as good as the other guys. It killed my self-belief. I now help athletes develop an elite mindset so comparison no longer controls them. We teach techniques to cut out the negative self-talk and unlock their full potential. Imagine stepping into the box when it counts the most and feeling totally confident in your ability, feeling invincible instead of insecure, ready to seize the opportunity instead of shrinking from it. That's the mindset I help athletes develop. Don't waste another minute on comparison and self-doubt. Take control of your mindset and become the confident, unstoppable competitor you were meant to be. DM or comment below to get started with Edge and transform your mental game. Be in the moment. That's hard, dude. That's hard, huh? Like, be in the moment when, you have, like, this is how I see it, right? And then just so you have a peek behind the curtain in my life, like after this, I'm done for the day, but I might have emails to respond to and phone calls to make and more connections to be had. Whereas if I'm doing that and my children come up to me in the middle of it, I'm not giving them my full attention. And I almost feel bad about it, but I also have a responsibility too, right? And so it's hard for me because I own 2 businesses. I own a payroll company and I own this business. So, when I am efforting to make money for the family, it's almost like I got to be in that. I got to be present for that too. But then I feel bad, right? Like, so my 2 oldest have off of school today, and my middle daughter, she goes, "So, like, are you going to work all day? Or are you going to play with us?" I was like, "Baby, it's Friday. I got to work." And it's like, "Oh," and I'm like, in the middle of me having pancakes with them at a restaurant in the morning, I'm like, "Baby, I'm trying. I took you out to breakfast." So I get a lot of dad, but I'm like super sensitive too. So I get a lot of dad guilt, and that's something I struggle with. So,
yeah, you got to just time time frame everything. Like if you need to do emails, say daddy is going to be doing emails from 3 to 3:30, and then so I'm not trying to ignore you. I'm really trying to work, and then after that we will play. I'll, and put your phone away for a little bit.
Yeah, put the phone away. Yeah, we need to do a better job of that in this family. Like
it's so easy to just look at your phone. Right?
My gosh,
so
it's like what? Nothing's gonna happen. The world's not gonna catch on fire. Why does this thing get a vote? What?
Right.
But in this day and age, especially with what we're doing, like that phone is
everything.
It's business. It's business. So let's move on here. Again, loving this conversation and how deep it is. And, now, like you said, you're making the world a better place, but you're helping people. Are you creating programs? Are you taking clients, or walk me through what this next chapter for Jessica Weaver looks like?
Yeah, right now I'm just doing podcast interviews, and I've been working on my own podcast. I'm going to be doing coaching calls and eventually maybe one-on-one clients, but not quite there yet. I gotta figure out the back end stuff. I'm not good with this computer back end stuff. Well, so maybe I'll ask you for all that help.
I got you. I'm an open book. I can definitely help you. What's your podcast about? What's the name?
I just have it listed under Jessie Cakes. I don't really have a whole name for it, but I cover all of my past and all the hard, finding your love, finding your self-worth, and healing pain, and kind of all over the place, but that's cool. Kind of all links back to my past.
So is it a solo cast, or do you have guests on?
Right now, yeah. I do want to do guests, though. I would love to get a little studio set up here soon.
Awesome. Well, that's a beautiful studio right there. You can do it right there. We're virtual here. That's like the new thing, right? No, I got to admit though, within the next few months, I'll be in a studio, and we might have to do this again. Yeah. We might have to fly you out and do it in person.
Yeah. I do feel like in person's just better, right?
So
usually.
So good. I love in-person interviews because then you have that energy. Yeah. The conversation easier. You're able to see right off the bat, what the energy is, instead of having to figure it out through a camera, which is a gift. A lot of people can't figure it out. I like to say that I've almost mastered that. So that's good. By doing it over and over and over again. But where can the audience find your show? Is it on Apple Podcast?
Yeah, it's on Spotify. I think it's on Apple too, but it's linked to my bio on Instagram.
Well, what I'm going to do for those of you that are listening, don't worry, I'm going to go to the link in her Instagram before I publish this lovely show, and I'm going to throw all her links in the show notes. I encourage you to go follow her, listen to what she's doing, engage with her, and the podcasting's fantastic. It's something that has helped me grow as a person and become more aware. Yeah. What have you learned about yourself since you've been doing your solo show?
It's definitely how much people truly need the support. I think a lot of people, they kind of keep everything inside, and they're going through life on their own, and you really need that support. So just trying to be that support for others is really amazing feeling. And also you can see people changing in front of your eyes.
That's a great point, right? Because at some level, when someone creates a show, they have this vision, they want to talk about their stuff, but creators like you and I, we want to create content so that the next person sees it or listens to this episode and says, hey, maybe I struggle with what I'm posting online, or hey, maybe I struggle with being present with my kids, or maybe I struggle with death. And it's something that they can tangibly grab onto and go and then work on it. I have received numerous messages about how my show has helped them become a better father or become a better person. And I'm like, dude, I didn't even know you listened. Because sometimes the people that are your biggest supporters are just watching. They're not engaging, and of course we like engagement, right? Because it's kind of like our, like I'm doing good. You know,
Yeah.
you're clapping for me now, but
Yeah,
yeah. So,
definitely.
no, that's awesome. How long have you been doing your show?
I actually started maybe a year ago, but I've been more consistent with it nowadays. I
Yeah.
kind of fell off it for a bit.
It's funny. When I started my show, like I would only record after the gym in my car,
Oh yeah.
in my phone,
Yeah.
off the Anchor app, and it
Yeah.
was just a hobby. It was just a hobby, and
Right?
like the
Yeah.
worst part about it was when I had to do the show notes. Like I didn't want to do them, you know. But then I got more serious about it. I started having guests and started making more
Mhm.
connections and having super impactful conversations. And the thing that I love about it, and the thing that I'm really digging about this conversation, is I know the audience is going to get so much out of your story, like so much
Mhm.
out of what you have gone through and what has made you tough, right? Tough as nails. Because I would imagine, and you can dive in further on this. How has overcoming all the things that you've overcome lead you to be an unstoppable force in this space and in your life every single day?
Yeah, I feel like when things really bad happen nowadays, I'm just like, well, I've been through worse.
Yeah.
You kind of laugh it off. I've been through worse. When you can look back and just see all that you've been through and those hard times where you didn't think you're going to make it,
Mm-hmm.
but you did make it and you got through it and you learned, then that gives you that strength, that if anything comes your way, you'll be fine. You'll get through it. And so I always tell myself that.
That's a great checkpoint, because before we started recording, we were talking about, you know, like adversity and in the bad stuff that comes our way. Like we like to think
Mm-hmm.
as individuals, like, okay, I got through that. I'm good now. I'm good. I'm cruising. And then something else happens. You're like, fuck, why not again? Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, why do I got to go through this
Yeah.
again?
Yeah.
And you quickly realize that without the trials, without all the hardship, without all the crap, there's no testimony. Like,
Mm-hmm.
who, how are you going to even be interesting if you haven't gone through something and overcome it, you know, onto the other side and people watch you overcome it? Like, I think that's the beautiful part about life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it definitely builds character, and there's like an energy through of people that have been through hell and back. They just radiate this energy.
Mm-hmm.
I can't explain it, but um, you admire them for their strength because you try to put yourself in their situation. You're like, I couldn't do that. There's a lot of people that have heard my stories and they're like, there's no way I couldn't have done that.
It's intense.
But yeah, but realistically, we do have that strength.
Yeah.
But you have to dig deep.
I agree. I agree. You know, that one quality that the person has that, you know, that has gone through a ton of shit and has come out smelling like roses on the other end. They have a
Mm-hmm.
different swagger about them. Like,
Yeah.
they know they can't be hurt. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they're, whatever you're going to throw at me, I'm going to meet it head on. I'm going to fight
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to fucking win. Like,
Yep.
that's kind of like where I'm at. Like, and no matter
Mm-hmm.
what's going on in my payroll business, you know, this business, or what's going on with my wife or friends or kids, I know I'm going to win. Like, I know.
Yep.
And I don't mean at the expense of other people. So for those of you listening, no, it's not what I mean. I just mean I'm going to come out and I'm going to achieve my goal. Right. And then I'm going to set another goal and I'm going to achieve that no matter what is thrown at me. Because when I get on something, Jess, I'm like a dog on a bone. Like, my wife tells me I'm impulsive, and you know,
Yeah.
like, I'm very impulsive, but that's the ADHD, right? Like, I can be very impulsive, but that's also, if I believe in something, I will go 150 miles an hour at it. And
Mm.
if I'm not into something, it's a zero, right? So I got to get
Yeah.
better at all or nothing. My buddy Matthew always tells me, like, bro, we got to get you away from the all or nothing French here. Like, you know, you got to be able to balance a little bit. And it's true, because I'll burn out, you know?
Yeah.
So
That can be exhausting.
I do that with fitness too. I'll be like, it's like all or nothing. It's
Yeah.
Like I have issues. Like I think that's why my show's really listened to a lot, because people can hear my issues and say, "Hey, you're not alone, buddy."
Do you think that like kind of goes back to childhood of not feeling like enough? So you're
Yeah.
always trying to just always be enough,
Yeah, that's so
right?
that's definitely a childhood thing for me. For me, it was my
Yeah.
father, right? It was my
Yeah.
dad. Well, my biological father, I don't really know.
Okay.
My mom married my stepfather, which was my dad. I never called him my stepdad, but he did
Mm-hmm.
so much to support me. I have to say, I've given my dad a lot of shit on the air, and I don't give him
Yeah.
credit for all the good stuff. So I'm going to do that right now.
Yeah.
He taught me how to work. If it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't for him, I don't know where I would be. I really
Mm-hmm.
don't. He taught me how to see a goal, work backwards, and understand what I need to do to get there. And then ask myself, are you willing to sacrifice whatever it is to achieve that? And
Mm-hmm.
so I worked my butt off. He got me baseball lessons, never missed a game really, but there was one thing that I felt where I wasn't perfect. And when I would have a really good game or do something really cool or get in better shape, it was always like, "Hey, you still got a little fat right there. Like, what's that? Like
Mm-hmm.
on the side, what is that?" Or, "Hey, like what the fuck was up with that third at bat? You struck out." I'm like, "Yeah, but I hit a double and a home run the first two at bats." Like,
Mm-hmm.
so like
Yeah.
you
There you go.
like that's it. Like that's the all or nothing. That's
Yeah.
what it turns into. So it's like, it's very difficult, right? And we all have our past. How has your
Mm-hmm.
past dictated how you've shown up?
Yeah. Yeah, I had daddy issues. I feel like a lot of us do, right? We
Yeah.
all do.
Yeah.
Um, Men are just harder. They don't communicate right sometimes, and especially back, our parents'
Mhm.
generations and stuff. There wasn't a lot of self help and stuff back then,
No,
so parenting was different.
because I told you
But
so.
yeah, daddy issues plays a big
Yeah.
part. I feel like you have to do that inner child work because that's gonna really explain how you are in the future. For my dad, he's my best friend now, but
Mm.
he has always had anger issues.
Hmm.
So I grew up in a very constant yelling, hearing him yell, anger, you're on eggshells. So as a kid, I was very empath too, like your daughter,
Hmm.
and you do take it on. And I think that's kind of how I got into a abusive marriage
Hmm.
because I didn't see those red flags as flags. I was so used to it. I was so used to the
Normal.
yelling, you know? So, I think as when you are a father, you are your children's first example of how a man should be and how a man should treat their mother. So it's really important, especially if you have little girls.
Hmm.
You have to, they're going to grow up picking men depending on how they see their father.
Man, it's crazy because like and even so, like I tell my son all the time, like, dude, besides me, you are the one person that's going to set the tone for what these little girls
Yeah.
think is acceptable. And
Yes.
he's a 10-year-old boy. He can be very irritable of his 7-year-old sister. And basically to a point where
Yeah.
we're like, dude, get away from me. Like, but they
Aw.
don't, but they don't see it on the big screen like we do. Cause we know what
Mm-hmm.
that's doing, like to the confidence. We know what it's doing to the psyche. And it's just funny because like
Mm-hmm.
I always tell my son that, like, dude, besides me, you are the one that's going to set the bar. You're setting the
Yeah.
bar for what your sisters are going to accept into their lives or what kind of men they're going to be attracted to. So,
Yeah.
there's another thing too that, we talk about daddy issues and things like that. You know what I found for myself, and I don't know
Hmm.
how it is with you, but if I have a male leader or like there's a male mentor in my life, I am mortified to disappoint them. And if I disappoint them, like my whole day's ruined. How are you there too? Like,
Um, I mean, I'm not quite there. Mine is different. My
Mhm.
dad never was particular with doing better.
Mhm.
I mean, he was happy if I didn't get an F in school. Like, so I never really had, like, he's like, oh, you got a D, yay.
Good job.
So I never really, I never really had that, which I
Yeah.
wish I kind of had some more of that. But that's again, yeah, that goes back to childhood
Yeah.
and just feeling like you're a disappointment. And so you got some inner work to do.
I know I
Yeah,
do. I know. And I'm here for it. You know what I mean? I think it's only going
yeah,
to make
it's
me a
great.
better father, better husband, better professional, better show,
Hmm.
better everything. So, those things are in the works, and we are working towards dealing with all that BS. But I just got to
Yeah.
say thank you so much. We're going to land the plane here. I've just had such an amazing conversation with you, and I just know that there's going to be people out there that are going to listen to this and really get so much out of it and be encouraged by the things that you've gone through and how you've overcome. It's like, dude, you're amazing. You're amazing.
Thank you.
So,
That was great.
why don't you tell everybody where they can find you? Your
Well,
Instagram, all that good stuff.
yeah, you just go to Jessie Cakes 33 on Instagram, and I have all my stuff linked up there.
Perfect. And I'm going to put that link in the show notes so you guys don't have to keep going and looking, but I just want to give you another thank you. I'm grateful that you hopped on, and it was an amazing conversation, and I can't wait to hear the feedback from everybody on this show. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, share the show with somebody that you know, love, and trust, or somebody that you feel is going through something that, they can hear something in Jesse's story or kind of just in the conversation that will help them get through things in their life, the turmoil that they're in, and come out on the other side stronger and more resilient. I love y'all listening. Thank you so much for everything that you do for me and your listenership and sharing everything. If this is the first time you've listened to this show, I would hope that you would hit follow and listen to all the other ones. And with that being said, guys, you have a wonderful day and be determined. Don't stop going for your dreams. Take care. Southwest Florida is one of the most beautiful places on the planet to live. For those of you that are thinking of moving from other states to come to Florida, or even just moving to a different part of the state, I want you to think of a big, beautiful luxury home. Contact Legacy Luxury Builders. They are a family-owned and operated luxury residential construction company. As a family-owned business, they believe in the power of building not just homes, but legacies. Contact Legacy Luxury Builders. The nightmare of feeling like you'll never measure up, of constant second guessing and self-doubt. It eats away at you and destroys your confidence. I've been there too, feeling like I didn't belong on the field with my teammates, but it doesn't have to stay that way. I used to compare myself to everyone around me. I thought that no matter how hard I worked, I'd never be as good as the other guys. It killed my self-belief. I now help athletes develop an elite mindset so comparison no longer controls them. We teach techniques to cut out the negative self-talk and unlock their full potential. Imagine stepping into the box when it counts the most and feeling totally confident in your ability, feeling invincible instead of insecure, ready to seize the opportunity instead of shrinking from it. That's the mindset I help athletes develop. Don't waste another minute on comparison and self-doubt. Take control of your mindset and become the confident, unstoppable competitor you are meant to be. DM or comment below to get started with Edge and transform your mental game.